Hello there. My name is Claudine, and this is my first solo video, which I'm being called to do. You see, I'm the shy type, and I'm really not comfortable in the limelight and talking alone in front of the camera. So I prepared some cue notes to help me along. So please bear with me as I'm not an experienced vlogger. So when I say I'm being called, it's not that it's someone or something is calling me or making me do this. I am making this video because the situation in our current times is moving me to reach out to some of you who may need to hear this at this time. So this is for those of you who may have lost loved ones in this pandemic. And this is for those of you who may have lost livelihoods and may have had to shift careers or directions to survive. This is for those of you who may have lost friendships and relationships for varying reasons. And this is also for those of you who feel like they're alone or in a dark place or feeling like life has no meaning at all. Ang dami-daming nawala at nagbago sa mga buhay-buhay natin. Gusto ko lang sabihin na huwag sana tayo mawalan ng pag-asa at pagtitiwala sa buhay at sa Diyos. So in a way, seeing all this loss and grief happening in the world, it feels to me that it's God's way of calling and nudging me to share what I experienced through this video. So I come from a Filipino Chinese family. Okay. So what I'm sharing with you is what I experienced. So over a decade ago, I made the decision to take the journey to discover myself. You know, sino ba talaga ako? Who am I? Who am I in relation to God? So I went, looking for seminars, leadership seminars, coaching, healing, different kinds of modalities, just so that I could understand who am I. Yung pinanggalingan ko, I come from a business na it's been there for a long time. Okay naman ako, So some people say, okay ka naman, bakit mo kailangan umalis? Pero I really felt a discontent. Parang may kulang, parang may butas. Hindi ko alam kung ano yon. So sa ginawa ko, sa paghahanap ko sa iba't ibang grupo, pagsali ko sa iba't ibang grupo, coaching, leadership seminars at kung ano-ano pa, nagkaroon ng hidwaan sa pamilya namin, sa pamilya ko. Akala nila naloloko na ako or nabubuang ako. Okay. So that put me in a very uncomfortable place. That was one of the losses. So my family's trust was lost. I lost a source of income because at a certain point in time, I decided I will turn my back and follow what I feel is my calling. I also lost some friends along the way kasi hindi nila ako naintindihan. It was a very lonely and stressful time for me. But one thing I learned, the universe is always balanced. Where there is loss, there is gain. So what I realized, what I gained along the way is sacred and priceless. I gained new friends and a community that's also along the path of seeking to know who they truly are and seeking their purpose. I gained back parts of me that I rejected, I repressed, and suppressed. I gained new relationships with friends who stayed with me in my lowest and darkest moments. Eventually, my family learned to accept my eccentricities and still love me. I gained new skills in a new career that's aligned to my soul purpose. I also, more importantly, I gained a relationship with God, or Creator, or Source, in such a way that I have access to divine guidance 24/7. When my world becomes chaotic, my heart knows where to find God, and I find peace and hope. I now know where home is. And when I say home, it's not a physical place. It's a space within me where my heart and mind are safe and at peace. It is where I meet God and I feel accepted and whole. So all the losses or seeming losses made way for gains that kept me afloat, mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. And it still keeps me afloat amidst the pandemic. Yes, like many of you, I feel the anxiety from the events happening around me and around the world. Like many of you out there, I also lost in this pandemic. I lost my father. He was one of the first ones, the first 100 to get infected. And so, yeah, my family still mourns my dad's passing. But with it, I gained an understanding and experience of my father beyond his physical body, and that there is life after this one. Those were the gifts. Perhaps the anxiety, stress, and even the trauma of this pandemic is God's way of calling us to reconnect with him or her. One thing I realized is never too late for anyone to start the journey of knowing themselves. So perhaps some of you are going through something similar to what I had. You know, yung feeling na hindi ka kontento sa buhay mo, hindi ka fulfilled kahit na may pera ka, or feeling mo parang may butas, or that parang walang saysay ang buhay. So yung mga usual things that I put a premium before on, like career, network of friends, money, status, appearances, they didn't fill my soul. They did not make my heart sing. In my journey, I literally stepped into a new world, not just with new opportunities and friends, but a new way of being and living where I experienced walking with divine presence every day. I invite you to step into that future, a future where lives are transformed, where people are awakened, and eventually our planet could be healed. On a side note, there's this video made by Simon Sinek where he spoke about the rise of selfishness and that it happened over time. It took about 30 years to get to where we are now. And he said it'll take about 20 to 30 years to be able to get out of the current rut we are all in. Oddly enough, you know, the Blessed Mother, through a dear friend and a sister, mentioned that same timeline, that same time frame, about 30 years for the millennials and the Gen Z to be able to correct and clean up the mess that was done by the generation of the previous generations before them. I quote this from a group that we have, build the future on a foundation of soul purpose. When spirit is the architect, soul purpose is the blueprint, and mind is the builder. Heaven on earth is the result. If you would like to know more about soul purpose, please join me and our community of soul purpose seekers in the Facebook page Soul Purpose Hub. The web address is http://bit.ly/join-sph. So we will put it also in the comment section just so that, or on the screen so that you could see it. Maraming salamat po sa pagdinig at pagbibigay ng inyong panahon. Sana po makita-kita tayo sa tamang panahon. Maraming salamat.